Hi there, and welcome to now the fourth installment of our interview with the coach series. I am joined by our 2019 Longfellow Middle School District Coach of the Year, Amy Balkman. And
Hello, everybody.
yeah, we're really excited. Can you tell me, where are you from?
So I am from Seattle, Washington, born and raised up in Washington, and moved down here to Oklahoma in 1990. So this is for the last, almost 25 years.
So are you actually a Sooner, or is part of you still like a Washington Husky or something?
So yeah, we didn't quite get into the sports. We grew up as BYU fans. So we were all into BYU football and that kind of stuff. So coming here, living in Norman, and Thad went to OU law school. So we are Sooners through and through. His parents both went to OSU, but we can't do the Cowboys here. Sorry.
As a youngster before high school, what sports did you participate in?
Okay, so growing up, we were a track family. Like my dad coached us from the time we were just little, and we would go and do summer track every year. I remember just being a little kid saying, I want to run hurdles, and he'd say, no, you're too young. And so I would drag the hurdle to the infield and just go and jump over it and say, Dad, watch this, I can do hurdles. So we started running track when we were just kids. And my sister, she was actually a national record holder when she was 9. So that was what we all did growing up.
Okay, so what about high school? Did you continue with track through high school?
Yeah. So I ran track through high school all 4 years. I've got 5 sisters, so I'm number 3. So we all, yeah.
I didn't know that.
No brothers, just a house of girls. So we all did track, and my dad coached high jump through middle school and then up to the high school. Like I remember he would get up, he worked at Boeing, and he would get up and go to work at like 4 or 5 in the morning so he'll come and coach and do high jump. So high school was all about track. I did gymnastics through high school. We actually had gymnastics was a high school sport up in Seattle. And so I did gymnastics at high school, and then I cheered my senior year.
Okay, so what was your favorite memory as an athlete growing up?
We were going to this big meet in Eugene, and we stopped at a gas station, and they had hot dogs, 10 hot dogs for $1. And so that's what we all got for lunch whenever we stopped, 10 hot dogs for $1. And they were the nastiest hot dogs ever from a gas station. So if you ever stop at a gas station, they have hot dogs 10 for $1, don't buy them. I've got such great memories growing up of practice and meets. My sister, when I was a senior, my younger sister was a freshman, and it was really fun going to state together. The two of us were at state together for high jump, and it was really fun always having a sister on the team.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I didn't know you had a background in gymnastics, so let me put you on the spot. Would you like to show us that you still have gymnastics ability and maybe do a cartwheel right here while live in our interview?
Oh, I could totally do a cartwheel, but I don't think you really want to see that. Maybe next year I'll do a cartwheel off camera when we're back at school, okay?
All right, that's fair. I might hold you to that.
All right.
I might make you do it in the parent meeting before the season starts. Okay, so I suppose that leads us to the most obvious question at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What sports do you coach at Longfellow?
Okay, so I coach track. That is my one and only sport in the spring. And so this year was my 10th year coaching. The first year was when our oldest was in 7th grade. And back then, Millie and Hogan were the coaches. And I remember just begging, Adeline's going to do track. I'm like, please, can I just volunteer? Can I help? Can I do something? So I wore them down, and they let me help.
That's awesome. So that's basically how you got into coaching, right?
Yeah. I had never coached track before. I mean, I've coached my kids' sports, soccer and t-ball and stuff like that, but I hadn't coached track before. And so, when you grow up doing something, you kind of have a background in it, and you kind of know some of the technique and stuff like that. But I had such a great resource in my dad. that I could call him up. He's been to the Olympic Training Center twice as a coach. And so I could call him up and really bounce ideas off of him and get really good advice when it comes to working technique or doing drills or coming up with workouts and stuff. So I used him a lot. It's really fun to talk to him about track. So I'm level 1 certified with USATF. And then there's also US Cross Country Track and Field Coaches Association that I'm there level 1 certified with that. So I really like going to clinics and like learning about things and connecting with other coaches and just talking workouts or drills or, you know, how to work technique.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were USATF certified. That's really cool.
Yeah.
What made you decide to get into coaching? I know obviously your oldest starting probably played a factor. Was there anything else?
I had such great coaches growing up, and you see, you know, the connection that you can make with these kids. Obviously my own kids, getting them introduced to the sport. And then I just remember having such great memories with my dad. And so I wanted to be a part of that too. But I really enjoyed being able to meet other kids and connect with other kids and then other coaches. We have such great coaches at Longfellow.
Well, that's a tribute to you too, because you've ran a good program that coaches want to coach with you and they want to be a part of your program.
Well, thank you. It's, you know, I cannot do this by myself. You know, track, there's 17 events, 4 divisions. We had such a great coaching staff with experience that's just building and building. So it's really fun when you get really good coaches to work with. It is really fun.
I think the one thing that probably impressed me the most about you was you guys had only been practicing for maybe a week or two, and we walked around the gym and you literally named every single kid on the team, which, I mean, it's one thing for me because I see these kids pretty much all day. At that point, you had seen a lot of them maybe only for a week or two, and you made it a point to not only know their name, but you also, I thought it was really cool that you also could tell me something about them. And I think that that's an attribute to you and how you make it a point to get to know the kids.
The beginning of the year, I start walking as we're doing warm-ups and everyone's in their rows. I'll just walk down the row and say, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? And start learning them so that I know who these kids are, because I'm not at school to see them every day. It's like this challenge for me to learn their names so I know who they are. That's a big part of coaching for me, is getting to know them and trying to help them the best that I can help them.
So I think these next 2 questions I got for you, I think you've kind of already answered them.
Okay.
So you've coached 10 years and all of it's been at Longfellow, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
Sorry, that's the rooster.
That's an actual real rooster?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I thought I heard it when you were talking here a minute ago, and then it did it again. I was thinking maybe that was your son Harrison doing it out loud. No, it's an actual rooster.
It is. Yeah. Back there, we've got a rooster, and I think there's 6 big chickens and then a few chicks and some ducks. We've got some ducks, and the dog is walking around. There's a bunny right there. Yeah, we're kind of country.
Well, if your rooster doesn't mind me interrupting him, I was going to ask you, who was your favorite coach growing up? I think we all know that, right?
Yes. You know, I've got to say it was my dad, because I spent the most time with him, obviously. You know, we didn't just practice at the track. We literally practiced at home. And when we were little growing up in Seattle, we lived in the Tri-Cities over in Eastern Washington. And we would throw our mattresses out the window and high jump in the backyard on on big tractor tube inner tubes. We'd put those on top of each other, put the mattresses on top, and he'd rigged up standards, and we would practice in the backyard on that. And then when we got older, he got an old pad from the school when we lived over in Seattle, and we had that in our rec room in the house. But there's so many great memories, and he devoted so much time to learning the technique. So he was such a great example to me of how to coach.
That's really cool to hear about that and how you've kind of continued it with your kids. Obviously, for those people listening who may not know, you started track in this year in mid-February, and it actually ended up ending, little did we know, right
Okay.
before spring break. So what was your, over that month, I guess, what was your single favorite moment
Uh-huh.
about the season this year?
We did not have much of a season at all, but it ended with all city preview. We always have a practice meet before spring break. It's a great opportunity to get everyone on the track. We had 123 kids there this year. We have a huge team this year. So I don't know. I think it's got to all boil down to that all city preview, watching these kids really come together and perform well and then support each other. See them support each other and cheer them on the sidelines. And they do a great job helping each other out.
Cool. So you had mentioned that you had 123 kids on the team this year.
No, we have more. We have more. But 123 went to all city. So yeah. Yeah, we
Okay.
had.
So let's say, I don't even know what the number is, but I can tell you this. In the last 2 years, you've had a battalion of student athletes at every meet. How in the world do you handle 120 to 130 or 140 kids?
It gets a little crazy, and that's where these really great assistants come in, because I can only do so much organization and paperwork and things behind the scenes, but when we're at practice, you need coaches that can just jump right in, see what needs to happen, take it and go. Because if I have to micromanage everybody, there's too much. We split into groups. So Coach Davison takes all of the throwers and they go and warm up and do their throws. Sometimes they'll warm up with the sprinters. Coach Morstad has all the sprinters, and bless his heart, he's got a huge group of sprinters. Coach Kubi has the distance. They warm up separately. And then when we would break up into field events at the end of practice, I would take hurdlers and high jumpers. And then we had Tyler Crump, and he turned out to be a really great assistant, but he was great. But then also I had some parent volunteers that would help out. And so it takes a village. It really does take a big group to be able to run a track team, to keep up with who is there. I had great managers who took attendance every single day, so I knew who was even at practice. But no, it's kind of crazy how it all comes together with that many kids. We have about 150 on the roster.
Yeah, when the numbers get into triple digits, it can be pretty tough to manage that. But I suppose the shout out to all your assistants and all the managers and all the people that have helped you make such a awesome track program. So
definitely. I mean, you say that, but they're the ones who make me look good.
Talk us through winning I believe it was your first conference championship as a head coach at Longfellow. So talk us through that just a little bit.
Yes, as head coach, it was my first. It was great just to see all these kids come together, all of the coaches come together and really make such a great season. But that was such a special group of kids. It was 8th grade boys who won conference, and they went undefeated all season long, going to different meets where you've got teams from all over coming, and all up until conference, they won every meet. It was such a deep team where we had going across every event we were strong in. And that doesn't happen very often, especially at such a small school. Longfellow being such a small school, we had some meets turn us away and say, you can't come because you're too big. And we're like, no, we're in Norman, but we're a small school. So that was just really exciting. You remember our first meet, well, it was the Norman High meet that we went to and we won. And we were waiting to get, all the medals, and we were some of the last people to leave, and we get to the light. I always think about this. We get to the light, and I think that's when it really sunk in that we just won a meet. And I jumped out of my car at the red light, and I ran back to your car right behind me. I'm like, we won!
That's right. I do remember that.
Because up until then, it was just kind of like business as usual. And then you get in your car and you calm down and you let it sink in, and you're like, wait, we really just won that meet. And so last year was a really fun year.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. There are a lot of good memories to be had. And I think the kids walked away with a lot of good memories. What's the best part about being part of the family at Longfellow Middle School?
It's kind of nice to have another place to go. I love being home. I love being able to raise my kids. And so it's really fun to just come and be part of Longfellow, where, you know, I can poke my head in the gym and we can sit and talk track or talk, you know, whatever's going on sometimes in the morning, or, you know, go up into the office, and it's such a great office staff. And I don't have a whole lot of interaction with coaches during the year because I'm not there, but the banquet is really fun. So Longfellow has such amazing coaches and teachers and staff that it's really great to be a part of that, even though I'm not there full time.
That's awesome to hear. So can you name one coach at Longfellow that you think deserves a shout out for what they do and why you chose them?
Okay, one coach, that's a tough one because there's so many amazing coaches, but I've got to shout out to Coach Tiff because I am always really impressed with what she does with her team. She has softball, fast pitch, and slow pitch, so she's coaching fall and spring. And just the amazing way she's able to influence those girls. You know, she is not teaching those girls just how to pick up their sweats in the locker room, but she's teaching them how to play softball and be a team player and support each other on the field and off the field. Things like the Special Olympics that they participate and support by going up and cheering on everyone. And so to know that she's willing to take her time out of her life and all that she has to do to teach these girls that there is so much more than just softball. It's how you treat each other. It's how you act, you know. I just think it's really impressive what she's able to accomplish with those girls throughout the year. It's not just showing up and coaching. She has a real love for her team. And I think that's really inspiring.
So in your whole coaching career, your 10 years at Longfellow,
yeah,
can you give us one memory or one thing that happened that is your favorite?
I don't know. Maybe I have to wrap it up with last year's conference championship, because when you have a championship, it doesn't get much better than that, seeing everything come together. And with something like track and a championship, it's not one person and it's not one event. You've got to be deep and wide. And so it was a really special team to be a part of. So, you know, I've had 5 kids of my own kids in and out of the program, and it's been really fun to coach them and watch them. But I'll have to say conference champs.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Last question I got for you. Amidst all the circumstances with social distancing, is there anything you would like to say to parents, teachers, students, so on and so forth out there watching?
Okay. I just want to thank everybody for being so supportive. You know, when we started our season, to make it work with so many kids, it takes everybody. And so to all of my assistant coaches, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for all that you did. You know, all of the organization and the work that takes just to get ready for the season with paperwork and rank 1, all of the teachers who help and support their kids and help them stay eligible so that they're able to come and compete, and the extra time they put into helping them get their grades up or understand something or redo something so that they're able to come to track and compete. You know, we could not do it without the amazing teachers. And then there are so many great parents, and the parents who are supportive and support their kids so that they can come and be a part of this. I learned so much from the parents, getting different perspective, different input, and see the kids that they raise and how they're going to go out and affect this world. Because in the grand scheme of things, it's not all about track. It's about what do they do off of the track. Big shout out to all of our support system.
Awesome.
And our athletic director, who is amazing. You know I can be a little stubborn on a couple things that I feel are important for my team. And I'm looking tunnel vision at what's important for my team, where you're looking athletic director, trying to make everything fit under this umbrella. And so thanks for putting up with me.
You've never been an issue for me. You know that I love you to death. So, and I'm grateful for all the things. I'm grateful for all the things you do for our athletic program and your leadership of the coaches and all the things that you do for the kids behind the scenes that people may not see. You do the things that you do. You don't look for recognition or notoriety. You just do it because it's out of the goodness of your heart. So, well, awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to, and I also want to thank your rooster for allowing us to, for taking the time to do this interview. So
an appearance would be good.
Yeah. So
well, thanks. I was kind of nervous about this, but this was fun. I like how you're doing these extra things. It's been really fun to watch other interviews, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think it's great for people to be able to see some things about the coaches behind the scenes that they may not know. Like for you, for instance, being an adjunct coach, a lot of the teachers or building personnel, they may say, oh, I know who she is, but they may not know much about you. And this is an awesome way for people like them or other students or community members to say, oh, that's Coach Balkman. Okay, that's who she is. And then they get to learn more about you. So I think that's kind of the whole purpose of this thing.
No, it's fun. You're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, to all of you watching, this is Coach Balkman and I signing off for episode number 4. Thanks for watching.